It's the hunt down now of this Season 3 here with Creator Series. And so with 4 rounds remaining in the championship, you start making the turn for home and understanding what do you need to do to put your championship season on top. But in a multi-class setting, this is going to feel at home in certain respects. It's Sebring week. We're here at Sebring, and this is your precursor to the iRacing Sebring 12 Hours, which will be coming along on Saturday. My name's Jake Sperry. Along with me is the ever-dependable John Harris for today's action. And John, Sebring is the circuit that pretty much over the last 20 years has cemented itself as an absolute staple of the month of March.
Yeah, one of those tracks that was literally born from an airfield, and it's become one of those that everyone wants to win. I know I say that quite a lot because there's so many iconic tracks that we go to, but in America, this is the one that I think that everybody targets, apart from Indianapolis, obviously, for other reasons. But the asphalt, then the concrete, makes it such a tricky challenge, and especially in multi-class, it's chaos, confusion before we do the real thing as well.
Yeah, it's what we say is RTB, respect the bumps, is the goal for today. Now, let's talk a little bit about calendar, because we've got a lot that's gone through over the course of this season, and there is still a lot to do. So we've still got the big Talladega Oval Week coming along next week. They'll be at Miami for round 9, which is very tight and technical. You've got the Enduro, which will be coming up at Long Beach, and then Monza Historic to round out the season. So as far as it goes, you've got very different circuits to bring home the championship right now, John.
Yeah, it's one of those things, if you've built an advantage right now, you're kind of sitting pretty at the top. But it must be said that the advantage isn't really there for anybody at the moment. It could change in one race, quite literally. So it's one of those things, actually, looking at the calendar, where you go, you've got to really keep it on the track. And right now, those tracks are not looking favourable to that. Very high speed, very high commitment. So all it takes is someone moving offline and you're already in trouble.
Yeah, so today it's about maybe seizing an opportunity. Just like at Daytona Road, you've got a bit more of an open feel of how you're able to go and get this all to play out into favor. Let's go talk championship now, because we are into that phase where everyone, I think, is going to be trying to line up and eye up exactly where they want to be in this championship effort. And while it is worth talking about the fact how close it is up at the top of the standings, Rescacioso and Ancephallosis then on top on 195 championship points, a 10-point lead over Brendan Hyperstar and Chesnoid. And then you've got Paul Noodlesim on 160 points. So they are in the mix then with 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th and co. So there's a lot to deal with. They can see it up on your screen. A very close-fought championship. And it goes to show when you put one car in each category out there of GT3 and Dallara IR18, or IndyCar as it were, you sat down and saying, well, it's the most consistent teams that will get the points.
Yeah, quite literally, Aidan Pole being absent means that PoleNoodle.sim goes down to P3 and kind of out of the running for the moment. As I've said, it can change, but it's kind of a 2-horse race at the front. But with points being scored routinely in the 30-plus points, I mean, there is every reason to think that even down to P10, let's say, you can still work your way up into the top of the standings. So it's one of those things where you really have to be careful, and I think we're going to see some gutsy moves today just to put the pressure on other people sometimes.
Yep, and there is no much more pressure than here with Tom Knight. They call him TK. He's here with us right now. Tom, how are you finding the opportunity to get to grips with the unsafety car? Because my hearing of it is that it's the Cadillac VRS GTP. I'll correct myself on that. And so you wish it would be a GT3, but ultimately it's a GTP. That is a nightmare when you can't put any power down on it.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. Excuse me. I got the car about 10 minutes ago. I've never driven Sebring, and I'm currently doing laps backwards. So that kind of sums up how my experience is going at the moment. But hey, the unsafety car was never designed to be something that was intentional and or safe. We're here to cause a little bit of carnage and mix things up a little bit.
How does the aerodynamic balance feel driving in reverse? Is it going as designed?
You know what? It's fantastic. I'm holding up 2 of the community entries in the GR86s. We've got a little bit of procession going, but driving through the rearview mirror is not ideal.
It's not. We've actually just noted that Timo's been spun across the nose there as you're trying to get things done backwards. Now, you're on the pit limiter at the moment as we take a look at you. So
Yes.
The role of the unsafety car, of course, your job is to make sure that the field is neutralized, but your job is also to not be concerned with anything that's going on in the race.
That is very true. Just trying to hold everything up and make it somewhat sensible. The car doesn't make fun noises when you bounce off the limiter in reverse. That's what I found. So that's what I was kind of holding the pit limiter on for, to save my ears for the time being.
I get the impression I'm in that scene from Cars where he's just driving backwards and like winking at everybody behind. Are you doing that to the community?
They call him
entries right
Mater.
now?
We're trying to hold it somewhat steady. No, there we go.
Reverse drift, I love that. I haven't seen that before. You see everything in Creator Series, even stuff never attempted.
It's just good fun.
It is really good fun. There's a lot of slide. There's a lot that goes through. Now, in terms of you and the team, you've got, I believe, Scotty Designs is going to be helping you out along the way. So there's 2 unsafety cars to play with. How critical is it to have 2 in the team and a constant presence out there on the circuit, making sure everyone's got that ability to know that the rules of the game are always going to be enforced?
I think it's something that we've noticed a lot more. Or, I say we. It's these guys who've done the major majority of the season. This is my first time in season 3 stepping in. But they've noticed a lot more. It's harder with the multi-class to just have the one unsafety car and the one race control. So it's very beneficial because we have the idea being one person watching the IndyCars, one person watching the GT3 class, and then kind of communicating between yourselves when incidents happen. Because if we're watching on with most crashes according to iRacing systems, unsurprisingly, it focuses on the GR86s. I couldn't tell you why.
So in terms of incidents, what are we likely to see around this track? It's quite a different venue to others. Does that change the problems of multi-class?
I think it's a great track that has a founding in multi-class racing. So you've got the element where it is a wide open circuit. There's lots of overtaking opportunities for the faster traffic coming through. So it eliminates what we saw at Okayama, which is a very narrow circuit, not many opportunities to go wide. But on the flip side, it's a very uneven surface. You've got cars that are very has been rammed by a GT3 car. The Indy cars are very susceptible to damage from the slightest tap. So the walls and the concrete and the uncertainness of the ground below them is really what's going to be a contributing factor, I reckon.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be having a wonderful time out there over the course of this racing going forward. We'll let you have a chance to get on. And also, I'm sure that you're going to be enjoying Scouting for Girls at the weekend, which will be an absolutely wonderful run's worth of action in terms of the music scene. A lovely band from the early 2010s, Scouting for Girls is. They had some very, very good songs out there. John, as they are looking to get themselves ready, now you're going to be starting to say, right, now you're hoping this is going to be for you. It's an hour and 45 minutes on the clock, but they've got 35 laps to go and conduct. So how are you looking at this going, I'm breaking this down into 12, 12, and 11?
Well, I'm looking, first of all, at the screen, and I swear I saw a Formula One car driving around there just a second ago. I think it's one of those things, really. You've just got to... I mean, we saw it in the real Sebring 12 hours. You've just got to take the race as it comes to you. You will very rarely win the race early on. So you've just got to not make a mistake around here. There's lots of grass, as you can see. The runoff areas are quite bumpy as well. So I think really it's not a thing you can plan for. There's a lot of opportunities to get overtaken or to overtake, depending on your circumstance. So you just have to see what happens. I've just noticed as well, TK managed to recreate the Nissan LMP1 car, front-wheel drive, by driving backwards. I don't know how he comes up with these things, but he's a genius.
I thought he very nearly created the Garage 57 car, which had a very, very pointy front nose and almost looked like a three-wheeler for a moment. So he's okay in that regard. We are going to jump in. We're going to get Ryan L83 in to have a chat with us. Now, Ryan, as it is complete and total carnage out there at the moment in practice, as drivers will look to try and get themselves ready. You are the fastest driver in warm-up on a 141.3. So how's the confidence and getting yourself going on cold tyres, as we just saw you there coming out the pits?
Hello, Jake and John and everyone watching. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised I'm P1 because I've only literally just turned the sim on today, and I've only done 8 laps. So I'm surprised. I'm expecting a few people to be up there with me. So yeah, I mean the tyres at the minute, the coldest is 33 degrees on the front tyres, so it's going to be interesting on strategy for tyres at the start of the race because the normal races we've done this season, it's been the opposite. You want to avoid maybe the softer tyre, you go for the primaries to start off with the high track temps, but with the situation with the time of day at the minute, I think it's like really early in the morning here. So tyre temp's going to be critical and track temperature as well. So you may see the vast majority of us Indy cars on maybe the alternates to start off with as the day goes on and the track temp goes up, and it will swing towards the primary tyre later on.
Well, that answers your question, Jake, from earlier on. I want to ask the different question of strategy. You've got a lot of boxes behind you, so does that mean you're going to be short fueling and doing more pit stops?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of IndyCar fuel behind me that I'm just gonna, so you may see a lot of pit stops from me today, but no.
Will they be with or without front wing? That's the question.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, from what I've seen so far, traffic's going to be a big issue for us in IndyCar. I think the only real places of overtaking is going to be where I am now at the moment. But then after turn 1, it's literally narrow practically from the vast majority of the circuit. So, especially if we get GT3 and the Toyotas as well at the same place, it's going to be absolute carnage. And I'm looking forward to it as always.
Yeah, you certainly are looking forward to it, and we see it time and again how often that you're up there and looking to put the pressure on at the front of this field. Now, we're getting a wonderful example of this traffic there as you try and get by Ches, and Ches gets a little nibble of you there on the side. Are you a little bit worried that you got that, those open wheels that's going to make life even tougher for you as people drive off the exit and maybe aren't as aware of how wide a car width is?
Yeah, I also think as well the speed of the IndyCar as well, that we brake a lot later than a lot of these cars, especially here, for example, I'm braking a lot early, but normally I brake around the 2 home mark. So I think a lot of people may get scared of us as we maybe go for the moves to try and break away from the traffic that's going to ensue later on. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And yeah, we're just giving Ches a little love tap just to say a good evening to him.
I think he'll need definitely encouragements to not run into you at some point. We've seen in the Creator Series it can be quite feisty between people. Is there anyone you are not necessarily targeting, but is there anyone you want to beat today?
Looking at the pace at the minute, Unju's a surprise in P2 at the minute. Brendan, I'm not expecting him to be a second off me. I would probably say he's going to be up there. Probably the one to keep an eye on, I think, is Lithium Fox is probably one to keep an eye on. He was P1 at the start of the session when I joined and looks pretty consistent in lap time. So probably Lithium Fox is one to keep an eye on for tonight, I think.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck with it and hope that it's not the rivals behind in trouble. Nice wreck from Ryan L83. Aerotech is now here with us, and Aerotech, you would have been a little bit downtrodden with what happened to you yesterday in terms of your subathon, but today you are looking to try and channel that into the opportunity to go and get victory here today.
Okay, I don't know about victory. That's a strong word. I'm just out here to have some fun. This is a fun car, fun combo. The car is all over the place all the time, especially on the alts. It slides around pretty bad. So I missed the last couple of weeks, and I saw this on the calendar too. And especially with I'm on a completely new PC today too, and I wanted to make sure I had a couple races in me. And I missed my friends. Gosh forbid.
So coming back to the Creator Series then, what's your objectives now with the new computer? We're going for P1, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've kind of come to the realization that pace-wise, I have to put a lot of work in to keep up with the front of this field in IndyCar. Even Ryan, Punju are fast. Brendan's obviously a former IndyCar Pro Series driver, so like I'm not going to keep up with them. So unless I put the work in, and obviously Jake kind of touched on it, I've been a little indisposed for the last 6 months. So I'm just going to try and have some fun, dice through the traffic, and maybe have box with somebody towards the midfield, but mostly just here to enjoy iRacing at above 60 FPS for once. It's cool.
Very quickly, just before we let you go, I know we're about 35 seconds away from the start of racing. Do you think that this is going to be about who survives rather than who's got pace?
Absolutely. Very hard to pass traffic here, especially in the IndyCar. I guarantee you someone's going to make a move they can't really stick, and then we're going to have a huge pileup.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck for Racing Action. Aerotech there with us, giving a really good showcase of what it's all about here with Racing Action. But we are now getting ourselves set as practice is just about to come to a conclusion. For those who are having a little bit of a chat about why sometimes drivers are struggling, there are people who are practicing out there, and everyone does try and practice to the best of their ability. But they do also know that for racing, it's about content, and sometimes in practice, they want to create some content out there, okay? It's not the way that you do in real-world racing sometimes, but I think that's what makes sim racing really, really great in terms of the action that we see. So grid is going to stack up then as follows. It will be the 27 of Stolstis who will be on the pole position and will be looking to try and replace then, as far as things go, Super Noodle Bagel, I think, for the rest of the season. Just getting word on that. Love 46 will be alongside then on company then going forward. It will then be Punju in third with Aerotech alongside going from fourth position, as it will be fifth for Alex Gillen. I didn't see him out there at all in the racing, obviously trying to keep himself very quiet. Hayden Gullis, that is a very experienced, and we know each other very well, third row of the grid. You've then got Ryan L83, who's got 83 problems, but a corner isn't one of them. Well, there's many of them here, as Brendan Hyperstar will line up in 8th. Your top 10 will round out with Reska Kyoso and Lithium Fox, and all VTuber 5th row of this grid. And then, of course, you go over to the GT3 field, where the Stag is then in position, ready to jump in as substitute. You've then got Joshimas, who's alongside then in the McLareners. You've then got Chesnoy Gaming, and it's Des TV there in the family-friendly Fun Friends Forever team, along with Punju. You've got 15th, Josh's Corner, as Ancephalosis will line up in 16th on the grid. Storm Molina and Sparks will go from 17th and 18th places on this one, as Josh Merrin will work his way from the back. Christoph then, as this is the community entries out there, is 20th position and leads those, with Ben Serda and Gosh Dam there in 3rd position in the lovely yellow and black livery. You've then got Timo and Fabian Ming there in what is 23rd and 24th, the Dutchman and the Swissman there alongside Soy and Mia Rose there in 25th and 26th. Mia, a lightning fast driver, 7,000 iRating, and as part of Creator Series, a one-time daughter of banter as well to go along with it. Reese is going to be there in 27th. The M-Gal in the Rice Shower car out there at this moment in time is going to look to get that GR86 moving on up. Then you've got Chucky George there in the 29th position, and 2 unsafety cars are there and getting themselves set and ready for action today, as they will take their progress around this wonderful track out here at this moment. They will get a full pace lap, not behind a safety car, John, but a safety truck.
Yeah, one of the particularities, I guess, of this course is the choice of safety car vehicle, or pace vehicle, as you might call it. Just, one of those things to slow them down. I guess it will make it extra tricky at the start because the tires can't be up to temperature. I guess for us as spectators, it's going to be brilliant to see. Who's your money on, Jake, in terms of best result or most unexpected result today?
Josh's Corner getting the last bit of hydration in before he sets himself up and looks to get and go, and now is going to get a little vape in as well by the looks of things then, as he tries to get himself ready for racing. Well, I turn around, John, and say whatever gets you in the mood.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good answer to me. I think it's one of those courses really where you, especially if you haven't done much practice, and it seems like a lot of people have been changing setups lately, you know, spring cleaning as they say. We may see some unexpected things happen. You do see Alex Gillen there on the grid. He has made it, as they say. So again, when you put Alex Gillen and Hayden Gullis together in a car class, you never know exactly what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. As I do love to see racing cars around this track. It's just got such an old school vibe to it, and yet we're a modern machinery ready to absolutely break lap records here.
It's Des TV, the dual camera that he's got. So you got the main camera there, and a look. Oh, actually, it's a tri-camera because you can see he's got his steering inputs and pedal inputs. Everyone loves a good pedal input out there. It makes all the difference in terms of knowing what a driver is doing, how they're looking to try and push through the corners. That's going to be great. And just touching there on Alex Gillen after the season opener of the Formula One Championship that was going through, John. Of course, we've got to be very careful here in the commentary box or he'll be asking to replace us.
Well, I mean, I don't tend to concern myself with that. Alex and I go back at least a decade at this point, and the amount of crosswords I've had with him, another one won't make much of a difference, I'll be quite honest, Jake.
Yep, so there will be a lot to try and get ready, especially here through the furthest part away on this section, running through the Fangio S's and over towards Cunningham Corner, turn number 9, out there on track. So they're going to have to be very careful through this section because you're looking at this place. Everyone thinks they can make a move at Cunningham Corner. They're not expecting how tough Collier Corner is straight afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just some very medium speed turns that roll into each other, but if you get a little bit of a snap oversteer or even understeer, really, it just compounds into the next one. And so you arrive with such speed at Cunningham Corner, you just want to chuck it in, get a little bit of rotation, but on the sort of dusty tarmac, if you just make one wrong move, you're going around. So especially if you're in a pack, you don't want to be doing any of that. That's major damage, and hopefully you can pit for repairs. But I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, talking about strategy, if some people go light fueled expecting an early unsafety car. I think it may be quite common around here. You know, you always see an early incident normally in the racing. So maybe somebody's smart to try that one. We'll have to wait and see.
There is Solstice representing the third of the VTuber trio that are out there here today, and she'll be looking for a very strong start off the front. Confidence is going to be key, and part of what you see from these fields is that we stack them back to forward. We create this accordion effect here in the Creator Series. It creates early drama in races like these as they will make their way along the Ullman Straight over to the corner of 1004 lines, and line number 1, for those who know, is armbar out there because Sunset Bend is the toughest corner, John, to get correct on the track.
Yeah, 1004 lines through that one, and none of them correct whenever I take it, so I always end up in the barrier. Hopefully they don't do exactly the same. I expect, you know, it's going to be some late charges here, and especially for the GT cars, maybe starting mid-bend might not be the best of things.
How aggressive do you want to be off this start? Who's going to want to be there at the front? Who's going to manage the push to pass on what is a very bumpy part of the circuit? Who manages the transfer between asphalt and concrete the best? Solstice and Love 46 will have the control at the front of this field. The green flag drops and we are underway for racing here at Sebring. There was a threat of 4 wide. There is in the middle as they'll now run over to turn number 1. Solstice with a lovely start round the outside. Punju already up into second position. Gets a lovely launch, sliding and spins in the GT3 field. Carnage in the GT3 field. They're all around except one. There's cars upside down. Stormalina leads, but a massive drama, and I think we'll need an unsafety car because we've got one upside down now. Look at them. They're like lemmings off a cliff.
Oh my days, nobody wanted to lift. Everybody ran into the... So Chesnoid went wide in turn 1, and I think that created a concertina effect in the GT3. Ancephalosis is basically missing half a car. That is Chesnoid crabbing through the turn 2. And basically the GR86 is saying, I'm not going to lift at all. I'm just going to go for it. And I think there's an unsafety car called, obviously.
Well, there had to be an unsafety car for it. Josh's corner was upside down on the guardrails. Then coming out of turn number 1, Josh's corner making 1 corner there, John. That's not what he wanted.
No, not ideal. I mean, it's just so unfortunate sometimes. Just that you get involved in other people's incidents. Sometimes it's not even your fault. But I really do think maybe they were being a bit too aggressive on that race start. You know, it's always got that sort of disaster scenario about it. It's a corner, turn one especially, is a corner that tightens on the apex. So let's have a look. GT3. So Chesnoy cuts across the nose of everyone. Des TV just goes for the defense. Ancephalosis. Oh, they both go wide. And I tell you what, that was, who was that? The Porsche got spun round. I'm not exactly sure, but my days, going for literally a backflip in a GT3 car, not ideal.
No, it isn't, and that's what happens when you find yourself in an absolute mess. There's the look down the inside. So there's the, perfect endo there from Chesnoy, but then trying to put the power on the exit, there's the problem. Straight across the circuit, and then everyone's in trouble. Just about able to avoid that going on by, but that could have been absolutely disastrous, and then some. There's another look at Chesnoy Gaming, then getting all sorts of sideways, then out on the grass. Everyone's trying to go through, and suddenly you never expect to be on the grass and ran over at the same time. You're desperately unlucky if you're Chesnoy.
I can just imagine being Chesnoy. Oh, I made it out of turn one alive. No, I didn't actually. I didn't make it to turn two. Just unfortunate, just going over the grass and you think everything's fine. I think Chesnoy just tried to turn into aggressively, try and cut the nose off of everyone else's car. And let's have a look. This is Stag's viewpoint here, just watching everybody. And then from behind, I'm going to expect that he's about to get punted. No, it's Ancephalosis that will get punted there. But he avoided all of that contact somehow. But yeah, I think Josh behind Chesnoy tried to, not panic brake, but tried to take evasive maneuvering. And that's what spun him round effectively.
Yeah, a lot to try and uncover there. A lot of pitters taking after the opening lap. So Lithium Fox, Love 46, Brendan Hyperstar, they've all come in for service. Aerotech's taken service, as has Hayden Gullis. So they've all decided to get service sorted out there under the unsafety car, and that will be to switch tyres potentially out there. We've got a number of drivers out there on the black tyres out there on these cars, which are primaries for the IndyCar Dallara IR18s, and the red stickers, of course, the alternates, which are slightly slower. That's the way you can differentiate between the different classes as they get themselves set out there at point. And first time today that we get to see really in, well, I wouldn't call it anger, but I would call it caution out there. The unsafety car in the Cadillac VSR GTP out then at the front of this field, currently being piloted by TK at this moment in time in the 999 car, because the the British sign for if you want to call an ambulance is 999, and maybe TK is going to find himself with a little bit of trouble then, and might need some assistance coming off of the final corners here in Sim.
I'm still disappointed he's not driving backwards on this one. But for once, it's the unsafety car doing safety things. And let's have a look at the GR86 perspective. That is already a punt, so it's happened. Fabian Ming just getting balked on the inside. And then, oh, wow, just Ancephalosis out of nowhere. So effectively what happened is the first GR86 has sort of split the pack, and then behind, you have just no visibility to anticipate what's happening. You're not expecting a GT3 to be stopped on the apex.
You definitely aren't, and so you get a look here. There'll be a lot of smoke in front. You're trying to work out where it's going to be, and it's the fact Ancephalosis has come across middle of the road there and hasn't been able to keep it off the circuit. It's a desperately unsafe rejoin back onto track in front of the GR86s, and that gives a huge perspective of just how tough this race is going to be for everybody out then on this run. There's still cars down there in the pits. It was Timo who took the late hit out there as they went through. So as far as they go here, Creator Series living up to the hype here, John. They blasted a full corner.
So when I jinxed it and said early safety car, I didn't mean lap one. I think that's
turn one.
Well, turn one, effect. Turn 1.5. They did make it halfway down the straight. I'll give them that at least.
Well, actually, that's turn 2, John, halfway down the straight.
Okay, he's got a good point. Yeah, I can't beat him on that one. Do you really call that a turn? It's flat out. Anyway, moving on.
It's on the map. It said turn 2. It's a turn.
You're quite right. Okay, yes, I'll give you that one. They did make it to turn 2, but it does mean that a lot of strategies will have to be reworked now, as we were saying before. And also, I think the IndyCars would have taken the chance to get off of, if they started on the compounded tyre they don't want to use, they take an opportunity to get off of that compound now. and then they can run a much better race pace effectively. So it could benefit some people if they play it smart.
So when you say it in that regard then, John, you talk about drivers getting off their tyres, switching to a different compound in the Indy cars up there at the top in the IR18s. So you turn around and say, actually, I can now run whatever I want to the end of the race.
Yeah, effectively, yes. That's a great way of explaining it. And sometimes it just forces you to compromise the strategy because you have to use both compounds. But I think some people anticipated that starting on the softer compound, which is set to be a little bit overheaty and just difficult to use. Now they can do whatever they want and fuel up whatever they want as well without having to think too much about the tyres. Around here, especially for Indy cars, the tyres take such a caning, such a punishment that it can be a huge benefit. So maybe the runners at the front that didn't pit might start to regret that in a few laps' time.
Sorry, I want to go to Timo out there at the moment because he came out of the pit, or actually he came by everybody taking a wave around, but he was on the same lap as everyone else, so he had to jam on the brakes, and now he's going to have this very awkward thing, John, of I've got to let everyone by me again.
Yeah, the weight of dishonor, as they say. Oh, no. You don't want to be in that situation, unless you're Hayden Gullis and you don't really care. But you don't want to really be in that situation where you're just waiting and you know you've done something wrong. The unsafety car as well, just weaving, saying, naughty, naughty boy, don't do it again.
Well, it was a case of everyone just saying in chat, I think Christoph then was going, oh no, please, let's not have another house robot situation where you put yourself into a position where they're going to be very naughty about it. But long wait for Timo. They'll probably have to go to the back of the pack then behind even the likes of Reese, who's just about ready to join the back of the train. So a chance then to get back to speed and understand that everyone is going to be into position. And probably here, John, at the end of this lap, they are going to be looking at racing once again. And I tell you what, this unsafety car, there's so much concentration from TK right now, it's killed his camera.
Oh, well, the house robot allegations he'll never beat. I guess hopefully he won't smash into any cars, but it's hard work driving the unsafety car. He's hurtling round at basically the limit of this car. Look at it. He's just having to weave the tires to, keep them in the operating temperature. I mean, it must be so tricky. He should start driving backwards again, 100%. I'll ask you the question, seeing as we've got the time, Jake. Were you Team Sir Killalot or Team Sergeant Bash back in the days of Robot Wars?
Oh, I was Team Shunt all the way.
Fair enough. Okay, that's a very valid opinion. As we'll see, the unsafety car round what is the last couple of turns before the Ullman Straight and then Sunset Bends to go back into the pits, I think, on this lap. And that means that we are once again racing, and you can see the flashing lights. I think we're about to see some shenanigans once again.
Oh, he's got to be careful. He's desperately trying to warm these tyres up to get through Sunset Bend. And, oh, no, has gone the wrong way. He's looking like he's going to recreate the inside. Oh, my goodness. He's upside down. He's going to get back onto the circuit here. He's going to clear the circuit and get clear. Oh, perfect. That's perfectly parked. Down there behind the barriers. That is excellent work there from TK in the unsafety car to get him safe. That is an 11 out of 7.
You couldn't even do that if you tried again. That is a 1 in a million opportunity to get that right, and he did it first try. Absolute legend. What a flying fortress right there on the unsafety car. And we do get green flag racing once again. The Indy cars through the last bend and onto the main straight, as it does look like some overtakes happening already. We got Reska Kyoso up the inside of, I think that's Alex Gillen with wing damage on the front there. Brendan Hyperstar around the outside as well, so a lot of stuff happening. Maybe some tires not up to temperature.
Well, for Alex Gillen, he's in an active aero position of I don't have any on my front left tyre at this stage. So very tough for Gillen to go and work with. He's picked that up under caution period. Good start from Storm Molina in the Aston Martin. Then getting the clearance she has out there. Love 46 already on the push to pass. You can tell by the arrows that are there on the timer. Through the hotel hairpin, on the tower on the left-hand side. Oh, spin, big one, Solstice.
Yeah, just lost it, I think, just bouncing over the curb, and that's a real bad recovery. You have to select reverse, then get it in gear, hopefully rejoin and not in front of any GT3s, but what a long way to wait. So just over the gravel there, oh, it's on the gravel, yeah, so just spinning the wheels up and then the bounce when they get back on track. and the car just lets loose, and there's not much you can do about it. So much horsepower in that car. There's just no way of recovering it, really, even if you come off throttle. So, yeah, unfortunate, but they're still in the race, only 6 seconds down on the back of the pack, so not too bad. Meanwhile, we have Sparks being absolutely hounded right now by Josh Merrin, and at the front... What a move, yeah, up the inside, just the switchback. And, oh, a little bit of a punch, though. I thought the Audi was going to come back across onto the track, but no quarter given there by Josh Merrin. Somehow, Sparks has defended this and might get the defence. Yes, slams the door shut, but Josh Merrin late braking.
Oh, and off in front. There goes Josh Immers, who's going to go a mile off. He's actually off of the concrete. Over there, and Merrin gets turned around for his troubles too. Des is going to spark on through, and Sparks also off the road. So two of the quickest drivers in the GT3 field in trouble. And now look at what it's done. The Stag and Cephalosis, they're 3 wide with its Des, who yields at Sunset Bend. Nobody does. Through the cones goes Des, and the Stag will not concern himself with 3 wide, but will concern himself with second place.
Whoa, that had my heart rate at an easy 150 through there. I did not expect them to get through that turn clean, but the Stag actually just saw the door, just went straight through it, and I think this Des TV is just stuck behind Encephalosis at the moment. Great defense by Encephalosis, although a little bit of a tap, and oh, the two can make contact. It's Des on the grass. Can he recover it? No, into the barrier. How unfortunate. Just, I think Encephalosis is not leaving enough room there, and it was just the case of where could you go in that Lamborghini. The answer is nowhere. So contact to Mary in the GT3 category. Meanwhile, Reska Kyoso really racy at the moment. P3 trying to get a move onto the grass wall. Ryan saw that one coming, was entitled to defend, but quite aggressive anyway. And Punjo at the front is probably just saying, can you guys be a little bit less feisty behind me? I kind of want to pull away with this one, but I also don't want to put my popcorn away.
Well, here's the push to pass from Ryan L83. He's going to get the run down the inside. Reska's going to try and follow here, and will do. Gets to the inside. Reska looking for the inside. Over the bumps. It's going to be about drive off the exit here. Reska now is going to start using the push to pass and is going to look for any chance to get by Ryan L83, who's got it covered at the moment into turn 1. Punju very much having to check up on the brakes, and then Lithium Fox into play. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all together at the front. And lest we forget the community out there, where Ben Serda and Mia Rose are 1 and 2 with Chucky George in 3rd position. So it is everywhere you go. There is something going on in the categories, and Sebring is a great circuit for all classes.
Yeah, it is indeed. Mia Rose really putting the pressure on Ben Serda right now. You can see just the aggressiveness of Termin, the confidence as Sparks arrives on the scene as well. I just want to point out something has happened to Alex Gillen as well. 19 seconds down, maybe some contact that we didn't see, but they are behind Solstice as well as RG Bargy Estimo just giving a little bit of a door shunt there. See the ones, DM Gal just trying to make a pass. Can they do it around the outside? Surely not in the GR86s, but Osai looking to profit from that as well. Wow, up the inside, yeah, DM Gal looking to go for it, but I think Timo's just going to be able to slam the door shut.
Oh no!
God, lost it!
Yeah, you get a massive influx of grip there with the traction control that's on the car. It would have spiked going over the curb there. A big loss there for Timo, and now the lapping process begins, and this is where it's going to get very dangerous. A massive 3-wide moment for Ryan L83 to jump on through. Closing speed, they're doing 190 kilometers an hour compared to 290 kilometers an hour. Imagine that, 100 kilometers an hour difference on the straight here at Sebring. That is panic stations. You just see a blur in the mirrors.
For context, that's like essentially, yeah, oh my days, this is ridiculous. Wow, Punjo up the inside there saying, I'm doing it. All Miro's around the outside, and that's Lithium Fox that... all the way around the outside, and I think on the curb and onto the gravel as well, as we still have battles. That's Hayden Gullis defending at the moment, and wow, that was a great defense, to be fair, with Aerotech just trying to find a way past, but maybe the tire's not up to temperature at the moment, as there's just action all over the place. Just wanted to point out, that is like standing still on the motorway and having a car pass you. That is the closing speed difference. That is absolutely insane, and as you said, it would be a blur in your mirror, as they say.
I can confirm that for the likes of Alex Gillen, he had to come in, get the damage repair sorted. So that was why he's dropped all the time, because he's coming, he's got a front wing. Over to Sunset Bend now, where you've got Storm Molina versus the Stag out there at the front of this field, and the Stag now really looking to hunt down. The Stag's been a little bit, John, of a sorry figure over these races, never quite getting the luck that maybe the Stag feels like it deserves, but at the moment, the Stag on the hunt for the race lead, and so this is the best I think I've ever seen the Stag do in a race.
Yeah, we told the Stag that they had to remain anonymous. I think they took that a little bit too literally, and they applied it to the race performance as well. It's good news that we clarified it, and they're actually turning up the wick, as they say, as Storm Molina is under so much pressure at the moment. We didn't really see what happened between Joshimas and Storm Molina, whether there was any contact. I think Joshima's lost it by himself, but we'll have to see if... I don't think we'll be able to get a replay now at this point, but Storm Molina, no signs of damage anyway, and so carrying on at the moment. They've created quite a good gap, yeah, 2.6 seconds to Ancephalosis, who is still keeping Josh's corner at bay in P4. So this is just a two-horse race for the lead at the moment. It looks like they're in clear air, which will help them, and I say that, they're approaching some GR86s, I think.
Yeah, so they're going to have to try and find a way through, and understanding the difference between GT3 and GR86 is the Toyota GR86 out there is a lot slower to the power, is much more transferable as a car, rear-wheel drive in terms of how it sits itself about, so you're just trying to be as predictable as possible going through. We're not going to get there this lap, but maybe next lap we might see the fringes then starting to be found. They're doing 2:24s at the moment, 2-minute lap time then from Storm Molina on the last lap through, so 24 seconds the difference. It's going to be close whether they reach the back of that field this lap or next.
You want to reach them on the straights, really, but just to say on the GR86s is that they are as close as you can get, really, to a production car. Maybe the Miata is even more a production vehicle than the GR86s. There are small modifications to it, obviously the rear wing being the most visible, but there are suspension changes as... Well, that was wide there by Ben Serda, just trying to pick up the pace. Chucky George moving up into P2 then, the overtake happening off screen, but Miro's just comfortable out front at the moment. And so far for the GR86s, apart from that first lap shunt, has actually been relatively clean. And so I'm expecting to see them punted off the road, sadly, because it either ends in two ways. Contact between them or contact with them involving other classes. This, I think, was the overtake. Let's have a look. So Chucky George just hounding, really, Ben Serda, just pushing him round the corner there. And as the IndyCars arrive round the outside, it's just an overtake with the overspeed. Miro's just gives, unintentionally, the slipstream as well, which allows them to get cleanly through.
Massive accident then for him through turn one, and that is a big issue. A wiggle off of turn one into the barriers. Is going to have to take a tow and a fast repair. Look at that, massive snap, bang, oh, horrible hit.
And now I want to point something out here. This could be to do with the new computer that he has. So when you move from a low FPS, say around 60 FPS or lower, right, to a high refresh rate computer, something that's more performing, let's say, it does change the way the feedback works through the wheel and how you react to things. And I think what's happened there is he's reacted too much and steered too much in the opposite direction to counter steer, and he's gone straight into the barrier.
Josh Merrin in trouble, and that's at Tower Corner. Lithium Fox was off the road and effectively has sideswiped there and said, look, I'm going to swipe left, and ultimately it's a date.
Not the one that you want, though, because it's a little bit toxic in that situation right there. But yeah, hopefully not too much damage, but we'll wait and see if we can get a replay of that for you on screen. Storm Molina has been overtaken by the Stag now. You can see there... That was nearly a disaster on the exit, right, nearly clouting into the back of the Stag. That would have been a funny debrief, as they say. Reska Kyoso still not finding a way past. Now, it will be crucial to see how they use the push to pass here, so let us have a look. I think this will be Lithium Fox, just trying to get past Ancephalosis there. And I think this is just, I think this is still live footage, actually. So we've got the camera from the pit lane exit. Thankfully, nobody in the pits at the moment. So Josh Merrin here with Des TV defending. Des TV to the inside, gets tagged, I think, by Des TV, and then Lithium Fox will appear somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Lithium Fox approaches, and that's in the barrier, flashing of the lights. And oh, what a bad tyre bundle placement there as well.
Not much you can do. Lithium Fox pushed off the road, tried to gather it back, but it is bumpy on the inside over to the tower turn, and ultimately you're going to have to call for a little bit of help when you get into that. A few takers down, then into the pits. A penalty then for Joshimas there, I think, for speeding in the lane, as we focus on the lead battle here in your Dallara IR18 category. It is Ryan L83 versus Reska Kyoso. They're both going to get the clearance here on the brakes, then past the two of Mia Rose and Chucky George right now. And I think we're going to have to give a penalty out there to Chucky George. Shara Esports in our creator series, that's a bit of a look around at it, John, and going, you're a professional esports team driver in our creator series.
At least 200 kilogram ballast right now. That's what they need. But to be fair, they're not getting past Mia Rosa at the moment. So looks like it's a 2-horse race. Bento, they're getting dropped a little bit. So, but they're still in the hunt, really, and they're not bump drafting, so you can still keep the pace. What will be interesting to see is how they play the strategy, because, you know, when you've got that many hours behind the wheel, you have some tricks up your sleeve, as they say. It looks like Ryan is pulling away just a tiny little bit there, 0.5 of a second. So not too much, but that extra car length just messes with the aerodynamic balance, messes with your head a little bit, as you can see Miro's going just through turn 1 there, nearly dipping the wheel onto the gravel. But that means that Chucky George got the better exit there, just using a little bit more of the road, and that was very dangerous. Fabian Ming on DM Gal as well, just no room for an overtake there. And Cephalosis, good to see them back in the fight as well. As I think that was Joshimas as well up there in the mix.
Yeah, and they can see running the pole noodle colours out there is Fabian Ming, so we know how he represents. Aidan Pole putting a lot of time and effort at the moment into the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup North America, so that's why he's probably not here today, because he's trying to get as much practice as he can. He spun out actually at round 2 at Miami. Good clearance there from Brendan Hyperstar, trying to work back through. Brendan Hyperstar down in 8th place right now. I never thought I would hear that as a sentence.
He's really struggling, and I noticed on the restart he dropped about 3 seconds in, I think it was a lap and a half really, to the leaders. And oh, that's somebody that has disappeared, unfortunately. That might have been why Brendan
he's had
so
another
disconnect.
moment. Yeah, so he's got to be very careful about that then, and that might be the reason why we're seeing it be so troublesome out there at the moment for Brendan Hyperstar. Ryan L83, though, still with a gap and feeling comfortable with it. 42.1 and a 42.3 for the pair at 0.4 of a second. The margin was across the line. I do also want to know the Stag leads by over 3 seconds.
See, we only had to tell them once, or them, I should say. No idea what they represent themselves as. I don't even think they know in their heads, to be fair. The Stag, very cryptic on all subjects, as they should be. But not on pace today, let's say. They are absolutely showing the field how it's done. And the reins have been taken off, for a figure of speech, and we're seeing exactly what the Stag can do. Storm Molina, I think, just keeping it consistent, realising this is a great chance to score a lot of points.
Yeah, it was a mistake at turn 5 on lap 8 of the race. Just got a big tank slapper on, did Storm Molina, over pushing her Aston Martin, and so that allowed then for the Stag to jump up to the race lead in the GT3 Mustang. A look then at Aerotech, back out on circuit again after the tow and the damage, a lap down at this point. There goes Alex Gillen by and jumps on through, and so now you start looking at what Aerotech can do over the course of this race. Basically, very much needs an unsafety car to come out to get the wave around back to be on the leading lap.
Look, it's Sebring. I'm sure it'll happen, as we got Hayden Gullis smiling. Hang on a minute, a smile from Hayden. What's he cooking up? What kind of strategy are we going to see? Every single time I see a smile from him, I know there's going to be something going on in the background. Just hounding at the moment, and nearly dipping some wheels into the grass. That's Love 46 ahead. So these two trying to catch Lithium Fox, who's quite a way up the road. And I think we've got some people in the pits there. So Ryan and Reska Kyoso in the pit lane. This could be crucial on strategy. Who's going to short fuel?
Well, they're both in together, so this is about, will the tyres last? They're absolutely equal as they hit their boxes. It's down to fuel, it's down to tyres out there at this moment in time. Reska going on to the... actually gets the jump. Brilliant stuff. Reska's on the primaries. Ryan L83 is out there on the alternate. So that's a change. Oh, and Ryan has a massive moment coming out of the pits then. A huge slide. He's able to save it, but critically, all that time he was trying to gain back, gone.
Yeah, just, I think a little... Wow, okay, yeah. Great recovery, though, just jamming on the brakes, I think, to get it square again. Great just reaction skills, I guess. But, yeah, look at that time lost, about 10 car lengths there. And I think that was just a case of being frustrated of losing it in the pits, and then you just want to get on the power, try and get the overtake done, and put them under pressure. And it turns out they're under pressure from Punju more than the other way around. But... I don't know. I mean, will we see someone drive off into the distance? It didn't look like Reska Kyoso had the pace to really move away or get the overtake done, I mean. So we'll have to wait and see. Oh, big lock up there. And that is still, I think, on the cold tyres. Just no grip being had right there.
Punju looking for the inside here at Tower Turn. And on to the greatest name straight in all of motorsport, the Flying Fortress.
You've got it's so iconic, just such a formidable plane of World War II, and daunting as well, just in that it was always ready to battle, a bit like this track. You've always got to be ready for the unknown, all poised to react. And so I do love it when they put historical names on straight. To talk about historical, Punju going for a move to the inside. Surely not on Sunset Bend. This is going to compromise both of them. Ryan going all the way around the outside, but no grip found out there. He's going to try and do the switch back. It's not really going to happen. Punju's got great traction out there, but Ryan just punching the throttle. You could see it just getting on the power. Nobody using the push to pass there, so it's going to be straight horsepower down to turn one. Punju just managing to find the overspeed and defends P2, what will be P2. Lithium Fox yet to pit.
Yep, so there's still pit stops that are needed in the cycle, working on trying to find as much lane and angle as needed through 5. Big gurney bend here of turn 6, and now needing the drive to the hotel hairpin at 7. Ryan L83's got the angle here, is now thinking inside, late to the outside on the brakes to try and find that move. Just trying to leave it as late as possible. Keep guessing here for Punju at this stage, but look at the drive from Ryan. He'll get it through Fangio, and maybe now he'll get the run the long way around Cunningham Corner. There's some GR86s in front that they'll have to get by, which the Soy, Reese, and the likes of Timo and Christoph, and so Ryan L83 gets the clearance, and now it's going to have to start lunging down the inside, forces one out of the way, nowhere for Reese to go, and Punju, he's turned, Punju's in the wall!
Oh no, I think just maybe a miscalculation there. Just thought that the GR86 was going to get out of the way, but I mean, they're like right there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how to interpret that one. I think
I know, and it's the same way that Gareth Allen, our producer, tried to interpret it, which is, what are you doing, Punju?
Yeah, that was a great way of description. But yeah, it's one of those things, I think, that you're just trying to catch. You've seen someone do a crazy move in front of you. You want to do the same as them to keep in their slipstream. And that's a case of where it just doesn't work out. It's just not worth it. And I think literally just misjudging maybe the width of the car. These Indy cars are quite big things. As you see, Ryan there is just absolutely sending it everywhere at the moment, just trying to make up that time. I think he's quite livid that he lost that position to Reska Kyoso, who's right there. He's gained the solid 5 car lengths back already. And look at that, Reska Kyoso.
Look at the side by side. This is the battle for the lead, and it's going to be contact between. Oh my goodness, what clearance! Both in the grass to go and get by. That is Josh Merrin and Ryan L83 getting by Chucky George and Mia Rose. Chucky George to the race lead then of the GR86 field, but Ryan, oh my goodness, that was heart in mouth stuff. We're not even halfway.
He's doing it like it's the last lap of the 24-hour race around here. My days, just sending it on the grass. I cannot believe what I just saw. So this is the battle. So Mia Rose is, and Chucky George are entitled both to take the racing line. I'm get alongside. And Rescioso, I think, is just thinking, well, I've got this lead. I don't want to really chuck it up the inside. There was a gap there, but do you go for it? What happened to Punju can happen. I mean, this is great racing. They're leaving each other the gap or the space and the gap to just maneuver. Chicky George just off the road, and Mia, I think, has to take avoiding action. That sends Josh Merrin onto the grass, and Ryan out of nowhere just goes, I'm flooring it, keeping one wheel on the track and just hoping that it's
big off. Big crash out there, and it's going to be huge for Lithium Fox, who is damaged trying to do his best Ryan L83 impersonation, and it hasn't worked.
That's 1 out of 3 successful moves. Oh, that's all on the grass. It's not even, it's the rejoin again, just the
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 7 of the iRacing Creator Series Season 3 here from Sebring. The action so exciting for Gareth Allen in the production trailer that it's crashed his PC. So we're back and we're getting ourselves then into position. It's Jake Sperry and John Harris here, who's alongside with us for the action. So right now they are under an unsafety car after what has happened to Lithium Fox. So this is going to neutralize the field back up a little bit here. Rescioso behind Ryan L83, who I think hasn't quite got the who has actually beaten Rescioso off the pit lane, and so that's a hand back in terms of pit stop window, John.
Oh, the switch around. So they've done it to each other at least once. That'll get them a little bit feisty. I mean, I think, yeah, for sure, the action on track was so intense that it might have caused a few PC issues. That is how much drama is in the Creator Series at the moment, and we just love it, to be fair. But it does mean that you get a reset also with the unsafety car, so everybody will be trying to figure out what strategy they have to be on. And again, it's another sort of brief pause in the sort of jousting, as I could call it, for lack of a better word. I think that just describes the amount of insane moves that we've had. I think it was just a case of once one person sees someone go for an insane move, they try and replicate it, and we were seeing too many people go for insane moves there.
Yeah, everyone's just realizing that this is a narrow circuit. They haven't really modified this track since its inception. So the circuits and the runways and the small connections around this place are exactly the same connections you would have found in World War II. And the concrete around this place, when you go through the early stages, is the same concrete that you'd have had back in World War II. So it's very much a case of the more bumpy that it gets out there, the more you're going to see how difficult it is. Hi, everybody. Even now realize that I'm on camera here with everyone. But it's ultimately at this stage here, John, that it is one of the most bumpy circuits you can find in the world, except for, maybe the circuit around the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
I was going to go for Wild West Motorsports Park, to be fair, but yeah, sure. It's definitely one of those courses with the concrete, now that we can see on screen. This concrete was designed to land and take off heavy bombers, like the Flying Fortresses, which is why we have the straight named after it. And what that means is that the concrete is so durable, but also so sort of tightly packed that as soon as there's any dust that gets on it, or any rain, moisture, or even when the track just isn't used for a few weeks, it gets so slippery. And so when you go offline, it just absolutely is like a ice skating rink at most points.
Oh.
Alex Gillen colliding with Ryan under the unsafety car. What's up with that?
Alex, that's not necessarily the way you need to go around, buddy, as he got the jump up then to go on.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Well, I mean, we won't say anything because obviously Alex will ask for us to be removed. So, yes, Alex...
we're going to get removed if we say anything about that. So, ultimately, I wonder whether there was something in the first safety car that happened between those two that's triggered Alex to basically lose his head.
Well, yeah, I mean, has he lost part of his front wing again, hasn't he? I can see there's not a full front wing there, or it's damaged again. So, it would be unfortunate. Oh, he's lost the front wing already, so something has happened.
He's lost the other half of the front wing, so he lost it on the left side the first time, now he's lost it on the right side.
Well, there's good news. They can glue it back together in the pit lane if they want to save a front wing. And there's the collision as well. So they do lose even more of the front wing there. And so I'm puzzled as to what's caused that. Maybe a braking, which Alex interpreted as being unsafe behind unsafety
Yeah,
cars.
look, he's just jumped 3 cars to go make contact with him.
Well, this is griefing that I'm only used to seeing on other sort of like open world games and stuff like that. So that's interesting. But there you go. Obviously, it's cost Alex Gillen more than it has Ryan, I think. So yeah, puzzling still.
Yeah, there's not much that can be said about that at this point in time. This is a nightmarish scenario, and I would look around and say that all these drivers will now look to try and hold themselves steady out there in this race. Pit stops have taken hold, so for the moment, Des is, at this stage in time, a lap ahead of the rest of the field and has also been told to park and wait for everyone else.
That is very unfortunate, and now it's the weight of shame once again. And this is also not helping him, because it will mean that sometimes the engine can overheat and all manner of stuff can happen. Your tires get very cold, and it's going to be absolute chaos. And he's parked on the apex as well, which, I mean, you know, of all the places you want to sit tight, maybe choose somewhere that is a straight line, not an apex of a corner. But there you go. At least they're waiting. And yeah, they'll just get back to the back of the pack as soon as possible.
Yeah, so this will be a chance to get back into position. Don't panic. There is so much more racing to come along, and we are just at the halfway stage of this race. We've just ticked over halfway, and so they will have that left to go to get sorted. The unsafety car team just have to get the order correct now before they go through. And I tell you what, it's an impossible job for Scotty Designs behind the unsafety car at the moment, because of the fact here, John, he's got to try and live up to the hype of what was TK's way of departing the field. I'm not sure he can top that.
I mean, the only way you can top that is doing a full takeoff. Oh, well, what's happened here behind the unsafety car? That is Hayden and... Is that Punju? Yeah.
Punju's missing front wing now.
Yeah, because Punju ran into the back of Hayden, and I think Hayden just has a little bit of damage. So what is going on? And they're griefing each other now as well. What is this unsafety car produced? I mean, and then flying into the pit. My days!
Oh dear. Well, they're all in the pits at the same time, so they can get their service. And at least this way, look, he's got up over the top of the wheel there going, what's going on? Punju now is trying to get there here with the likes then of Hayden Gullis. And I think there's a lot of friendly banter out there at the moment. Hayden's missed his box out there at this point in time. They'll now get the clearance to go away, and Ryan L83 will be behind Punju, who's had a wonderful pit stop there to get things sorted. I think they're looking at it now, because they're at 16 laps to go, John, and there's a fuel restriction on these cars out there, and just getting word on the fuel restrictions, 80% of the tank. I think that's them trying to fuel up to get to the end of the race.
Most definitely, yeah. It should be. I mean, you might have to do a little bit of lifting in certain areas, but you do that naturally when you're overtaking slower cars anyway, so it should be okay. But Race Control was just saying we're going to try and get going as soon as possible. We've just got to sort the order out. This is not going to help them in sorting that order out, that's for sure. But also, note to drivers, it's the unsafety car meant to do unsafe things behind the caution, not everyone else behind the unsafety cars. That was nearly a huge pile up there as well, with everyone braking, realizing, oh, we've made it to the front of the order. Maybe we should get in line.
Yep, so the order now changes with Reska Kyoso in control. It's Solstice up to second, and Love 46 then in third. Punju fourth, Ryan L83 fifth, then Alex Gillen, Lithium Fox, Hayden Gullis, Aerotech, and Brendan Hyperstar. Des in control of GT3 with Storm Molina and Ancephalosis second and third. Remember how Ancephalosis was broadside across the circuit and created drama on lap one, and now is third.
I don't know how they managed to get the car back to the pits in that instance anyway. But yeah, they've been in the wars, haven't they? A little bit of a battle with, was it Josh Merrin, I think? A little bit of an incident with its Des TV. So it's been anything but smooth sailing for Ancephalosis. But, I mean, they have shown the pace today as well. So that GT3 class is all about scoring points for the championship. And it's going to be so tricky for them to make their mark today. As, once again, it's Des TV to the front, and Storm Molina at the moment has been driving a huge race as well. The big loser in the GT3 category, the Stag.
At the back, but trying to run back forward. Ben Serder in charge of the GR86s, the community group out there. Fabian Ming second, and gosh damn in third position. Mia Rose, she'll be in fourth. And remember, there was an end of line for Chucky George, so it's going to have to go from the back of the field to try and run forward and get the result then that is necessary. So with the safety car, or the unsafety car, in at the end of this lap, it is now the time of Scotty Designs to try and live up to the hype and legacy here of one Mr. TK. So here is Scotty getting himself up then. He's doing nearly 300 kilometers an hour, trying to get through the corner, and that's a huge hit. Oh, my goodness. Up and over and lands on all fours. Brilliant stuff. Then on that, got the height, got the rotation. But the question is, was it a clean enough landing there to score the style points to go and win the big air competition? I know that the Winter Olympics is over and done with, but at the moment, it is now going to be all about Reska Kyoso on the front. Solstice will have to try and follow, and there's the launch, and we're back underway with 16 laps to go here at Sebring.
That unsafety car launch into the air. I've seen less dramatic stuff happen at the Red Bull Air races that they do, so incredible stuff. As up the inside goes Bunju, trying to make, or that, I think that was Brendan Hyperstar actually, making a move. Love 46 also getting a move done as well. So the IndyCar is really having, and there's Ryan and the Alex Gillen battle as well. Alex not showing any space whatsoever.
Des backwards, turn one, in the barriers from the race lead. Oh, that's disastrous on the restart.
Oh, and towed to pits as well. You can see the damage from the unsafety car in the background as well. So let's have a look. So in the lead, and are we going to see a repeat of what happened on the race start for the GT3? So into turn one, it's looking like it's going to go wrong. So let's have a look. Just braking. Does the rear gets loose exactly like it did for Chesnoy, except they've spun round all into the back, and that's going to be huge damage.
It was so early on,
Sparks
and that
as well
has created a lot, and Sparks also in trouble there. Oh, Gillen all over the show with a bit of aero loose, as now around the outside goes Ryan L83 and says, I'm going for first. What about you, as he goes by? Hayden Gullis also gets the march on the old enemy, as now here comes Brendan Hyperstar back into position now and lunging down the inside, but Gillen is holding his ground, doing well. Watch for the run out of Le Mans. Lots of understeer though for Brendan Hyperstar. Troublesome.
Yep, Hayden using the overtake button as well to try and get past. Brendan using it as well to just get to the inside of Alex, who's going to make the move before they even get to Sunset Bend. So last late breakers, it looks like, they're taking huge amounts of speed. Can Hayden defend? Yes, but over those bumps, they've just got to wait for the throttle. Brendan being so aggressive on throttle there. He might get the move done, but Hayden deploying the boost as well. So all three of them in this battle going for it.
Look at the GT86s, because Chesnoy Gaming's got damage. He hit the grass through Collier corner, and suddenly Mia Rose leads going around the outside. Fabian Ming's there, and round is going to go Chesnoy. They're going to have to scatter. Timo almost takes contact. Ches is really trying to get this one home.
Yeah, very unfortunate. That is wheel damage at the back there, so it's going to be so unpredictable. And you can see the car hobbling there, and that's Ben Soda just saying, please let us overtake, please don't get in the way. But, what can you do? If you move, you're going to spin the car around, because he has basically zero control of that car, and that just means, Ben Soda gets really caught out by that one, as well as most people. And as soon as he taps the brakes, it goes all the way round, and that is just Chesnoy just sat there, not being able to do anything, really.
No, the moment you're trying to get through, there might be some damage to the suspension, as right now, Solstice, second position. It is a high here for this second place. Love 46 is going to get a good run, and she's going to get the launch here against Solstice, along through the Bishop's Bend and over to Jean de Bien here, this next corner, and thank you very much, Love 46. gets the pass. Punju there in 4th position trying to jump up, and Ryan L83 has joined the chat out there at this point. So now he's going to sit and say, well, how do I get by all these drivers at the moment? And look at them, desperate to shake off the slipstream.
Yeah, I mean, that is so aggressive from Punjo. Whoa, nearly wipes out Love 46. Solstice nearly runs into the back on the overspeed. Incredible scenes. I don't know how they've managed to keep it out of barriers. Chesnoy does make it back to the pits, sorry. So everybody just relieved, I think, that Chesnoy has got that car off track, but well done. And I think Solstice is just happy to still be in this race. Punju, very, very aggressive on the overtakes. And Ryan just thinking Reska Kyoso is absolutely checking out in the lead at the moment. I need to make quick work of this, and I just cannot get past at the moment. Ryan will probably have to deploy some of that push to pass, but it's just not happening at the moment. The gap increases to 3 seconds at the front.
Yeah, so Reska Kyoto having a good run. The Stag is up to 3rd.
Incredible. Can you believe it? The Stag is just absolutely carving his way through the pack at the moment. Josh Merrin not being able to put up a defense. That's a big gap though, 4 seconds. How fast can he close it down at all?
Well, that's the question. Can you close a gap down that is that large? The Stag then into that 3rd position. This is the move on Josh Merrin. Josh has been so quick this season and has been someone that has been almost more aggressive than not trying to find these passes. You can see there's the look down the inside. The Stag comfortably dispatching of a pass at Sunset Bed. That's the sort of pass you'd expect to see on Saturday, and that was why Sparks found himself around, and that is a Ferrari spec Audi rear wing.
Yes, also a wheel at the back pointing 45 degrees. I'm pretty sure it's not meant to do that, so that's why they had to tow back to the pits. That's Ryan to the inside. Solstice not putting up a defense, it looks like, and Punju really looking to get past Love 46 at the moment. It looks like Punju and Ryan have the pace at the moment. Alex Gillen still stuck. Yeah, indeed, and turn 1, not the ideal place.
No, because look at the closing speeds as you go through. You just hope there's no understeer. I'd be scared if I was Gosh Dan. And now look on the exit. They're all slow. Oh, my goodness. Ryan and Solstice through on Love 46. And Punju. Punju gets turned across the nose there by Christoph, and it's carnage.
Yeah, that was just a case of people trying to go for the same gap, but 5 cars. I don't know exactly what was going on there. I think the GR86 just stayed in the middle, saying, please don't hit us. Meanwhile, you've got IndyCars going anywhere but on the circuit, on the grass either side, in the gravel, facing the other way. Punju just nearly made it through and then just got punted at the end from a panicked GR86, if I remember correctly. So unfortunate, but that's what happens when you try and put 10 cars into one space, apparently.
Well, this is what happens when Punju gets close to a GR86. He just has absolutely no spatial awareness, it seems, at the moment, John.
No, it's because the car doesn't have enough cylinders for an American, so he can't hear it in the headphones enough. So this is, again, Punju taps the GR86, and then I think it's the same GR86 that spins around, just gives him a tap back, but for the IndyCar, that's so much more devastating. Alex Gillen, I think, runs into the back of the same GR86 as well, so that one's been in the barriers and in the wars, and Alex, I think, maybe having a little bit of damage as well. He'll be very happy about that.
Yeah, so there's all that to try and deal with as they go through. Now, there is also word that Josh Merrin and Ancephalosis have had a little bit of a moment together out on track. So there'll also be a little bit of question about that and whether they have all gone and got themselves through. That was on lap 19 going into Cunningham Corner, where he just completely outbroke himself in and then just basically shoved his way on through. So very tough then as they have sorted themselves out. And so this is probably a tough moment. We'll take a little look here. Now, I'm not sure this is an intentional push to pass through. So he's on the light. He's trying to get his way through. It is defended on the inside. And I think that's just the difference in braking confidence out there. It's a little clumsy there on the exit, just giving the door. If you're going to give any form of penalty, it's for the door on the exit.
Yeah, most definitely. I think just it's a defense move just before the braking zone or on the threshold of the braking zone. Technically, I don't think that's too bad. It's more moves in like mid-braking zone that are difficult to. But Josh, I think, just trying to get through, and I guess he thought he was getting held up, but that's not a reasonable thing to think that a driver is going to get out of the way for you just
now
because
we've
you
got a
think
slow
you're
car.
faster.
Sorry, Christoph is uber slow, 50 kilometers an hour out there. I think that is a very big hazard risk out there for all the other cars out there that might need to institute a safety car or an unsafety car out there to make sure he can get back to pit safely.
I think that's only one-wheel drive right there. It looks
Merrin's got a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that's going to hurt. For all he had to do is keep it clean on the exit, and he wouldn't have gotten a penalty. I agree with you, Jake. It's definitely for the exit of the corner. But yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, that is kind of his race cooked, as they say. Alex to the inside, but Brendan. Oh, they've collided again. Brendan Hyperstar in the pits. Oh my days! It doesn't get better for Alex, does it?
No, it doesn't. And so Brendan Hyperstar through the final corner was trying to pit. Alex Gillen's trying to get the run off the exit, gets the drive, and suddenly it's the Taylor's oldest time here for Alex Gillen. I wouldn't want to be a front wing. Actually, I would want to be a front wing manufacturer. Now both bits of the front wing are gone. He's got the perfect hat trick, left foot, right foot header.
Well, I don't know what to say anymore. I think it's just he tried to get too close to Brendan Hyperstar to get the slipstream, but you've got to move out of the way if you're going to rear end someone effectively, and so without that front wing, that car is looking decidedly poor for speed through the corners, let's say, as Aerotech gets an easy pass and is well through, and race control. I mean, they can't remove race control, so thank you for taking that burden upon yourself, Gareth, so we can stay in the commentary box, Jake. We're fine.
We can. Unfortunately, though, I believe from what Gareth has said, we've already lost the stream once. We might lose it a second time.
That's a prediction right there. We'll see if that one happens. But yeah, Love 46 just overtaking some traffic there. That is Chesnoid still trying to catch up. Now he's a lap down according to the telemetry right there, which is very unfortunate. Just been in the wars. We saw them just trying to get it back to pits earlier on. Reska Kyoso around the outside of the not the GR86, this is the GT3s. That was around the outside of Josh's corner and overtaking the Stag.
Second.
That is, yeah, indeed it is. The Stag absolutely just carving through the field.
Well, 2 seconds to Storm Molina. There is Storm Molina. 10 laps to get that pass. On that last lap, the Stag took 0.3 of a second out of that gap. So there is a lot then in terms of changes that are needed. And so I would sit down and look at the Stag at this phase of the race and go, well, this could be a Stag win. And I don't think we're even prepared for what a win for the Stag means.
It might be interesting in the interview room. Is Michael Schumacher going to turn up or something like that?
Susan Boyle.
Ah, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I'll take that one. That's even better. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because at this rate of knots, I mean, the gap already down by another 1/10 of a second. I mean, 0.3 of a second. Just doing the calculations vaguely, that is about 7 laps at the moment. So they will just have maybe 1 or 2 laps to get the overtake. It's not easy around here. So I mean, who knows at this point? That's so close. But the gap is right there. It's visible.
It is visible, and now you're seeing here the chase. Rydell 83, 7 seconds down. There is Lithium Fox, who on the start of this lap is sick. And looking at all of that in front, oh my goodness, there's Love 46, Hayden Gullis, Solstice, entire group finding GT3s, GR86s. They're all there together, just enough room on the exit. The Stag gets the clearance around Asoy and Reese, who are fighting for position, and they manage to get themselves around there in that regard. Storm Molina there in front as well. And now here's the chase and the move from Hayden Gullis in third. He must have a nosebleed.
Wow, he's certainly going for it. Was that damage that I saw on the front of the Solstice car? I'm not quite sure. I don't see an intact... Yes, there is a front wing missing, and that does mean that the Hayden has managed to get that overtake done. Solstice still trying to...
Hayden!
Oh, on the outside, no way!
Solstice!
Solstice on the grass, yeah, able to rejoin, but my days! I love 46 nearly swapping ends as well. I mean, it's all happening right now at the same time. My brain can't cope with this.
Mia Rose leading in the community at the moment. Ben Serder and DM Gal fighting for second and third. Punju down in and pitting. So Brendan Hyperstar now moves up to 7th place. It is as busy as you can get it at the moment, and that is Hayden.
Yeah, maybe just locked the rear tyres, I think, into the hairpin turn. So we'll have to get a replay of that. Let's see, just approaching very high speed, very heavy braking, and there are a few bumps there on approach. So what exactly is going to happen? So in the braking zone, you can see the bumps there. Yeah, just locked up. And around you go, sadly. And you're going to have to wait as well for the 3 cars to pass before you rejoin. So adding insult to injury on that one.
In the words of Michael Cole, vintage Hayden Gullis.
Unfortunately, he has had a reputation of swapping ends. He's a very aggressive driver, and I do love that about Hayden Gullis, but sometimes it doesn't work out, especially when you need to be smooth, and Sebring is a track where you do need to actually be quite smooth around here. But unfortunate, I think maybe just adjusting the brake bias, and he's done it one click too many, and then around you go. As, yeah, it looks like as well, Solstice just struggling there for any turn of pace. The gap at the front, by the way, 8.7 seconds. Reska Kyoso to Ryan L83. That is a huge, insane gap. They're not even going to be on screen together. Look at that, as Reska Kyoso just trundling off to the supermarket, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and so heading over to the supermarket. It's a calm Thursday night drive for Reska Kyoso at the moment. I would say one of the great creators and probably the pride, I would say, of the iRacing Creator Series, John, for the way that he goes about his business, drives with confidence out there and just does everything out there. But of course, it's looking around and saying, I will do every event out there. Now the Stag, 0.4 of a second the gap. Storm Melina, on your haunches, because you got to make sure that you got to be on your best defensive behavior at this point in time. The Stag is ready to try and find a move out of the Gurney Bend in towards turn 7, the hotel hairpin. Storm Melina, she's really good on the defense. She's already gone defensive, and look at that. There goes the IndyCar through the middle of Brendan Hyperstar. The Stag will now get the launch to go to the outside. Now, the Aston Martin has one weakness, and that is gear 1 and gear 2. The Mustang, a lot easier when it comes to those revs.
Yeah, but luckily they're just offline and couldn't really do much about it. So it does look like, oh, the confidence. Look at that. The Stag around the outside. Surely not right here. You can't do that. They are going to do it all the way. And the Storm Melina trying to turn in, nowhere to go. Just completely not punted, but just shown the door through Collier Curve. And that is the overtake definitively done into Tower Turn. And then away goes the Stag, prancing into the sunset, as they say. And wow, I mean, what a race from the Stag. Just last to first at this point, and nearly taken out by Solstice.
Hang on, this is first to last to first. That's even more impressive.
Yeah, good point, actually. Yes, that's just doing it twice. Why not? Just doing every single position but twice. Yeah, I can respect that, to be fair. And hang on a second.
Storm Melina's getting a push from Aerotech.
That's novel strategies right there. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. And I don't think you'll ever see it again, to be fair, because usually when that happens, one car ends up spinning off in the wrong direction. But Aerotech just giving the extra boost of horsepower to the tune of about 300 brake horsepower.
Yeah, so it's a lot of brake horsepower that'll get you through. You've got to be very careful when you get pushed that quick that you don't over-rev the engine by carrying so much extra speed, John, that you blow the engine up.
Just dump the clutch there. Just push the clutch in, let the IndyCar do the work, and then re-engage the clutch afterwards. I'm sure nothing will go wrong if you do it that way, right? But yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many ways it can go wrong. I'm surprised that they managed to keep it together, but respect for that. That's for sure. Love 46 and Lithium Fox still continuing their battle at the moment for a place on the podium. So it actually really does matter with 7 laps to go. Hopefully everyone has the fuel to get to the end, so we're seeing a straight battle here for third. As you can see, they're kind of in their own bubble at the moment as Ryan still tries to close them down. He should be able to see Ryan just ahead of them going into Sunset Bend right there. But at the moment, it's clean air in front of Ryan. Reska Kyoso in the pits, actually.
Oh, this is a late stop. 7 laps to go. So this is going to be very, very tight. And in following will be Love 46 and Lithium Fox. Ryan L83, remember, pitted a little earlier with the safety car period. So he's going to take the lead now with 6 laps to go at Sebring. It's a deceptively long lap. But look at Love 46, as she now finds herself down on pit lane, will look to take the final bit of fuel and tyre life before getting going again. And this should be a case of seeing the black primary tyres, then no red tyres on, so alternates then to the end for Love 46.
Well, that'll be an interesting one. Will they be... Oh, still very snappy. Tyres not up to temperature. And that's the problem there on the concrete. You're on the lowest grip zone of the track, the exit of turn 1 there. And you've just got to hold on for dear life and hope you don't swap ends. And it's happened on the curb instead, and that's into the wall.
It's happened immediately, in the words of Murray Walker. And Love 46 then trying to get this one turned back around and able to go down. It's a lovely pink mechanical keyboard, by the way, on the right-hand side, but ultimately not what was wanted. Side-on contact, though, in makes all the difference. Now, DM Gal, I want to go over to the creator community group at the moment, because Chucky George is up to second.
Again, another person trying to do a first to last to first. This seems to be the theme of this race, I guess. Rescacioso was down the positions as well earlier in the race, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in the IndyCar. But yeah, I mean, the GR86s, the thing is, to get these overtakes done, it's even more complex because you really need to be strategic about it. So for Chucky George to be back up into P2, it's incredible, and it looks like Ryan is in the pits. Yeah, indeed. So will it be a very low fuel stop? Will it be just a splash and dash, as they say? It looks like it. No, they haven't made it to their pit box at the moment, so we should see Rescacioso coming through past the line. So Rescacioso will take easily the lead of the race back as they go round the, well, billion GR86s there on the apex. And will Ryan be able to take P2 still? Looks like it. Yeah,
hang on, Brendan. Look at Brendan through turn 1. Could very much get the run here, as they're now going to have to navigate by gosh damn and do so. So Brendan Hyperstar now is the one on the chase here in this second position, looking to try and keep this one close, and understanding here that Ryan L83 is going to be vulnerable for a lap, and this is where experience is going to pay off here. Now, Ryan will say, it's been a long time since I was super duper quick, but they've got to clear those 4 once again in the GR86 group. Ben Serda and DM Gal, Chucky George and Mia Rose, the battle that's there. They'll get given the angle here through the Fangio S's, and the clearance is going to be there on the brakes.
Hang on a minute, I'm just looking in the script for this race. Brendan Hyperstar in P3 wasn't on the cards. What's happened here? He's come out of nowhere to get into that podium position spot. Do they have enough fuel to get to the end? I mean, judging by 5 laps to go, surely. So this might be a straight battle now. But, I mean, if that's the case, they played a blinder of the strategy, because we haven't seen them really have the pace for the moment. Ryan pulling away a little bit. But if this is one on strategy, then that is an insane strategy there from Brendan.
Yeah, it's a wonderful strategy if he can hold on for 5 laps. He is the king of strategy, it has to be said, Brendan Hyperstar. He knows every trick of the book and will try and go and get all of what is there and then some. Look at the drive then out of the Le Mans chicane for Chucky George, going for the race lead. One Rosie Mia on the left-hand side. Mia Rose, I don't think's going to have anything for it. They're screaming on by his Aerotech, but Chucky George has the inside going into Sunset Bend, looking on the brakes, and it looks like it's trying to be a cutback off of the exit. The understeer there for the Shera Esports GR86 to Chucky George. Mia's going to get a run here. Now through on the right-hand side. Heyo Punchu. There goes the move then. To the outside goes Mia Rose, looking for this race lead. And again, trying to cut back up and under off the exit of turn 1. She's carrying a lot of speed. She's going to get all 4 tyres dipped out into the dirty stuff on the right-hand side. It's defended into turn number 3. It looks safe, but again, knit one pearl on, why don't you?
Just unfortunate for Mia there, just had to go on the curb, and so lost that momentum, lost the traction there as the traction control kicked in. It could have been an overtake otherwise, but not to happen at the moment. I mean, for these two, you need to give them at least, I don't know, 300 kilogram ballast at this point, at this point, as Mia Rose looked just challenging a little bit. I thought they were about to rear end as well, because just on the brakes, if you do that and you just do a little bit of a wiggle, you can't get the full braking performance, but they are are just so about
Stag's
psychological
in.
games. Stag's in the pits as well. Incredible stuff.
And that's with 4 laps to go. This will be a splash and dash. It's side by side for Mia Rose. And as the Stag leaves the pit, Mia gets the pass at Cunningham Corner and is going to get the move. Storm Molina now your leader. But now the question will be in GT3s. Do they have enough to get home and dry?
Yeah, Chucky looked to get the move there, by the way, and Love 46 was like, hey, no, I'm here, please don't hit me. So, yeah, and look at that lap by Ryan. Oh, okay, he's got the hammer down at this point. 8 seconds, though, with 3 laps. I think that's a bit ambitious. But, yeah, for sure, I mean, in the GT3 class, we could see cars conking out on the last lap. It's happened before, and it will happen again. But for the Stag, I mean, it's 2.8 seconds now to get back into that podium spot. Oh, Chucky all over the grass, just miscalculating the apex there. A lot of understeer, and it was so near disaster into the barrier, perhaps, if that one spun around, but recovered it, and Miro's still under pressure somehow. Meanwhile, behind them, Diamgal is trying to defend valiantly from Ben Serda at the moment, as you can see them just in the background there with Sparks overtaking them.
Officially, there will be no more unsafety cars. There are 3 laps to go. Lithium Fox then getting a little bit close here to the likes of Brendan Hyperstar, working through over to the right of the tower turn and making the drive back towards home once again along the Flying Fortress Straight with Josh Merrin and the Stag, who are together on circuit, and Cephalotis there as well. Where have I seen that before? Lunge down the inside there. Lithium Fox needs to see the Stag move across and obliges. Oh my goodness. Just take the line you want, and Cephalosis is going to be really short off the exit. And now as Storm Molina can't make it back, Josh's corner is going to be the one now who also comes into the pit. The Stag needs this move now to go and get the clearance. Here comes Solstice to the party with Hayden Gullis as they'll fight. And Cephalosis understeers. They'll go diving down the inside. Oh, Gullis! Oh, in the wall! Bang! It's into the pit. Goes Cephalosis and Josh Merrin. Gullis almost blocking the pit lane. The Stag moving on through. Storm Molina's on pit exit, but critically, as Hayden sits there, the Stag leads.
My days, I think that was caused by Ancephalosis trying to get into the pits, and so Hayden wants to get through on the inside and they make contact. I mean, look at that. Hayden, I think, taking it in good spirit. So let's have a look at this. So Ancephalosis needs to go into the pits. Hayden spots Solstice going through, and yeah, Ancephalosis just needs to just take the inside line. Hayden trying to apply the power, and yeah, incredible.
We saw it with Alex Gillen and Brendan Hyperstar. It's so difficult to actually posture to say, I'm coming into the pits. That's why a lot of people use the black box relative and say, look, in chat, I'm going down into pits. So if you're not doing that, if you're not saying that, then it's a guessing game. Speaking of guessing games for the race lead, Mia Rose losing out then. And look at this, DM Gal into play at this stage. Got to go here. Mia Rose with a massive slide. It's a 4-car scrap for the lead, as now Ben Serda's going to get involved. The Rice Shower car is now going to try and Uma all the Musume's late.
Least interesting GR86 moment. I mean, can you believe these cars? I mean, every single race we've had a 4-wide moment or a 4-wide battle for the lead at some point. They never disappoint, and this is another one of those occasions where they are just sending it. Diamgal just trying to defend. Miro still with that performance as well. Chuki just trying to get all of the power down, and indeed we just saw Reska Kyoso crossing the line as well, so it's going to be a very, very quick final lap for Reska Kyoso. They've just got the power down and they're using overtake as well.
Oh, this is dangerous on the final lap. Brendan Hyperstar for the podium on it with Lithium Fox, but these 4 going at it with everything. Chucky George, DM Gal, Mia Rose and Ben Serda, they realise this is the race and there are no more alternatives out there. The Stag only leading by 6/10, by the way, over Storm Molina. So we got 2 categories fighting for the win on the final lap. Chucky George just extending out the steering as well. Mia Rose half pushing DM Gal, half looking for the move down into the hotel hairpin. Not necessarily finding anything. Chucky's going to run wide though, and they're going to have a chance to go through. Now Mia's run a little bit wide off of the exit there. He's going to get away with it without a slowdown penalty, and that's going to be critical out there on this run. They'll head themselves over to Cunningham Corner. We'll have to cut away after Cunningham Corner here, as here comes the lunge plunge down the inside. DM Gal trying to hold this steady. Mia Rose around the outside, doing good. Over to Sunset Bend. We'll have to go one dominant driver in the IndyCar field over everybody else. There's a reason why this team is championship leaders, and it's on the back of Retzka Kyoso. Sebring is simply stellar for Retzka Kyoso and Ancephallosis. It's a majestic victory. We go back to this scrap then for second overall, for the race lead overall in GT4s, and there's still a chance that Mia Rose could lose out on second.
Punchu's just sitting behind saying, I want to spectate this. I want in on this action. He's got nothing to play for. And Miro's just getting a little bit of a break there. Diamgal having a bad exit there. And Ben Serda has the opportunity to go for P3. It looks like Chucky up front might be a little bit safe in this one. Miro's is going to have to try and do a hell of a dive. Look at this happening side by side.
Here goes Turner to the inside, and Mia trying for a move. Late's not going to get there. DM Gal's going to lose out on the podium. Chucky George is going to get it done. And behind that, oh, comes the move. Here comes the move from Storm Molina. Out of nowhere. Here comes the drive to the line. Stag gonna win this one. Brilliant stuff out there. The Stag has gone and won a race. Can you believe it, John?
The push from Aerotech, just absolute cinema at the end. I thought Storm Molina was going to steal it away. I couldn't hold my laughter. What an incredible end to the race that we've just witnessed. Look at this. Just Storm Molina up the inside, using that grip on that well-worn line with the rubber there you can see laid down. So the Stag thinking, what the heck just happened? Trying to apply the power, just giving a little bit of a bump. And then along goes Aerotech. And if the finish line was at the end of the straight, it could have happened. But sadly, for Storm Molina, the Stag just having enough grunt in that Ford V8.
Wow, just enough on the exit. And I mean, only just enough as they made their way to the line. There's your winner overall. And Reska's going to be a very, very happy bunny out there getting that one all home and right in a confident display of victory out here at Sebring. It's been a tough race. It's had pretty much everything you could ask for out there in terms of a category here. So a really good showcase of what racing is all about. Let's get confirmation of result then up on screen, because Reska Kyoso has won by 15 seconds today over Ryan L83 with Brendan Hyperstar, the last car on the podium. How is the question I will ask from that. Lithium Fox and Solstice 4th and 5th, with Punju 6th and Aerotech in 7th. Love 46 will get 8th place over the line, with Alex Gillen in 9th and Hayden Gullis there in 10th position, 1 lap down, and that will be the 10 there in your field for the Dallara IR18s. The Stag has won a race, and I cannot believe that. Just 600ths over the line over that and Storm Molina. Josh's corner will take 3rd ahead of Josh Merrin, who is 4th despite the drive-through penalty that needed to be served, ahead of Ancephallosis in 5th and Joshima's in 6th position. You've then got Chesnoy Gaming a lap down, is Des a lap down, and Sparks 2 laps down, heading over towards the line. Community group then over in the GR86s. A wonderful, wonderful bit of running there for Chucky George from what was first to last to first, doing the same as the Stag, winning by 3/10 over Mia Rose. Ben Serda will end up in 3rd position, and DM Gal made it 4 within 1.2 seconds over the line. Gosh damn will finish 5th ahead of Reese and Osoy, and then Christoph would be 2 laps down at the finish. Timo out 7 laps down, and Fabian Ming 10 laps adrift, and a retirement then from the race. John, I think Creator Series is back, and my goodness, have I missed not being on these shows.
We didn't have a chance to breathe in the commentary box, to be fair. Just action left, right, and center. And I think just such a dramatic race right to the end. Ancephallosis was hoping to make it basically a perfect point scoring for the team with Reska Kyoso there. And it could have happened just for that last pit stop. I mean, what can you say about that last move for Storm Molina and the Stag? So opportunistic, going for it. I love to see it. It could have happened. And with the late boost by Aerotech, that is just cherry on the cake. I think we have had some huge action today at Sebring. I think that is one of the most dramatic races I've commentated on.
Well, next week might be the scariest race for some of these drivers in the slower categories. If you think it's tough enough when you're driving, you got 100-kilometer-an-hour differences, they're putting each other on an oval. That is a recipe for a mega accident.
Oh, it'll be fine. It's not as if they're traveling at top speed all the time. I'm sure they'll be fine with that. But it's definitely a different type of racing because the overtakes will be necessarily very different. And yeah, chaos will ensue. You'll have to tune in for that one for sure. Let's see. Do we have some interviews waiting? Not yet at the moment, I think, but soon. Very soon, as they say.
Yeah, we are going to jump in. Reska Kyoso has picked up the victory here today. Reska, at the end, it's going to look very dominant on paper, but that might have been the toughest race win that you've had in a very, very long time to go and get.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's fast people to race every week in this, and you say it was tough, but honestly, I felt like I was rather fortunate because I think Ryan has some front wing damage at some point. Brendan having to leave the session to fix his kit. So I do think it was rather fortunate. But, with how chaotic these races can be, to be honest, I'll take one where everything kind of went okay for me for once.
Yeah, it certainly looks to have the pace. So I think maybe it's a little bit self-depreciation right there for yourself. But do you think maybe it was just the bad luck of the previous races finally just making up for it on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt like if I could just have a bit of a cleaner run, maybe I would be able to mount a better attack on some of these fast guys. I'm always there or thereabouts at the end, it seems, but not quite there. So, and then, today I have a clean one, and sure enough, it's quite a good performance on the track. So, it is. It's good when it all comes together.
Now, let's just talk about how you navigate through the traffic, because it seemed like there was no real way of discerning how you're going to get everything sorted. It's not often that you see cars out on track with 100 kilometers an hour difference in closing speed. So how are you able to gather yourself through what looked like the GR86s being the deciding factor in that race?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a fair amount of multiclass sports car experience, and sometimes I wonder if that's maybe an advantage here because there's a lot of F1 drivers or IndyCar drivers in this series, so maybe I have an advantage. But the 8.6s, the gap is obviously the pace difference is so much bigger, and often I'll find myself changing my mind on where I'm going to go, which typically is not something you want to be doing and not something I tried to do, but you arrive at the corner and you realize, no, this is the wrong decision. And I don't know if it was caught on the broadcast, but I ended up going into the side of Mia, who I think was leading 8.6 at the time. We both got away with it, thankfully, but I realized I wasn't going to make it too late, so it's very sketchy with that.
And in terms of the result, it's great for the championship, isn't it, really? You put another step between yourselves and the chasing pack. So does that give you a little bit of confidence as well into the remaining races, which are, let's say, a little bit more risky in terms of overtakes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a bit of a boost seeing the championship graphic go up earlier in the week and seeing myself and Ancephallosis on top again. I think Ancephallosis, got a good result compared to our main competition there. So, pretty good week on the championship as well. And with those risky races coming up, banking as much points before we go to places like Talladega is certainly a good thing.
Well, one final question then before we let you go and celebrate, Reska. How are you feeling about what is, quote-unquote, your Dallara Dash coming up in 7 days' time?
I've thought about it a little bit, and I'm trying to picture it. And every time I do, I see like me side by side with someone in the IndyCar approaching 5 wide 8.6s. And I don't know what the answer is there. I just mentioned I might have some multiclass experience, but not with this. No one does, I hope. So,
Multiclass oval. Goodness me. That is a scare for everyone. Well, what a run it was there. Reska Kyoso getting the job done and picking up the victory here today and doing a brilliant job. He always likes a chat. He'll get a P2 for his troubles today. Ryan L83. Well, Ryan, first and foremost, I want to get an understanding of what happened under the safety car between you and Alex Giller. It's not often that we get to see a driver grief like Sebastian Vettel on Lewis Hamilton back at Azerbaijan.
I honestly have no idea, but thankfully I didn't get any damage, I would say, but I did struggle a little bit on the straights as Reska was really like on my back a lot, so I had to use a lot of push to pass. But yeah, I don't know what Giller was doing, but it's Creator Series at the end of the day, isn't it? You're going to get some mayhem and carnage. So nice to have a bit of a inter-team battle coming across from the F1 Creator Series to the iRacing one. So it is what it is. And yeah, it didn't distract me or anything like that. So it's fine.
It makes you feel a little bit better. He did get wing damage for that, so it was all of his own doing. So I guess he's... I might get removed from the next broadcast, but I'm going to say it anyway. At least he's consistent across all of our broadcasts on the Creator Series. But in terms of the race, I mean, would you say the pace was a little bit difficult versus some other drivers, or was it just the chaos of the safety cars creating strategy problems that led to just being a little bit out of pace with some other drivers?
I think the problem I had was, I think it was the later stage of the race. I think it was after the safety car when I made a last ditch into the pits, and then I thought after that when the green flag went for the last time, I thought, do I risk taking a fuel saving strategy and try and save as a lot of fuel, which I did. But it turns out I only gained a lap on Reska, unfortunately. So I kind of lost a lot of time by saving fuel when I could have just carried on and probably would have been on the same pace. So it's my mistake for trying something different to Reska to try and do something. And then avoiding the primaries, I think, was the right play because they are so bad. They just don't go up to temperature completely. The limitation, though, with the alternates is the rears get really hot right at the end of the stint. So I thought my tyre strategy was perfect. I just made the wrong decision saving fuel when the delta was only one lap to Reska. And as you saw from the time, the gap, it just kept going up and up and up. If I stayed it in map 1, I think I could have given a run for his money, but it happens. It's a mistake. And I've been caught out by fuel strategy in the past races, like the first round of Road America. So I didn't want to have that mistake again, and it didn't work for me today. But I'll take a podium anyway.
Well, just before we let you go here, Ryan, of course, we can't go away without talking about next week in Talladega. It's multi-class on an oval with massive closing speed. How much do you feel you're going to be ending up on the top side of the banking, almost wall riding like Ross Chastain to try and avoid however much battling there's going to be from the other classes below?
Yeah, I mean, this is the one I'm really looking forward to the most. Not from a pace perspective, but from a spectacle. I could see a lot of carnage in this one. I mean, at most likely, I'm probably going to be using all my fast repairs, probably within the first 5 laps. Probably head to the bingo hall, do a bit of bingo, then head to the snooker club, get my snooker queue out, do a bit of snooker, and then head around for the multi-class race, I think is after that one. So I'm not expecting anything great next week. I think it's just going to be luck of the draw. But there is room for people to pass. But I think if the GR86s, for example, go 5 wide or something on the banking, it's going to be very spicy for us IndyCars and even GT3s. But also we don't know what it's going to be like for track temp and all that. It's going to be very interesting. But I'm looking forward to next week. Not really going to do any practice for it, and it's just going to be pray to the gods and see if we get through fine.
Well, if you don't turn up next week, bow tie and all, then you failed us all in terms of that one. Ryan L83 there joining us and getting a wonderful, wonderful run in terms of this one. John, that will bring the curtain down on racing action here from Sebring, but not this week on the iRacing service because the Sebring 12-hour will be coming along here. And of course, we got Talladega on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, 2 tracks and 2 combinations, I think, that are just going to throw everything into the wind, as they say, in terms of preconceived strategies. if that's a thing on Creator Series. No, I don't think it is. I've had word that we have the standings that we can bring up just quickly for you. So, as predicted, Reska Kyoso and Encephalosis have increased that gap. They will probably hurt themselves or curse themselves, let's say, a little bit more, that they couldn't get that perfect finish at the end, but they increased their points lead on Brendan Hyperstar and Chesnoid, who still remain in P2. The gap, though, is increasing because Aerotech and Stormalina in P3 already. That's looking at almost a 40-point gap, so that's getting danger territories. Aiden Pole and Super Noodle Bagel not really scoring that many points at the moment, so falling down the order. But from then onwards, it's all just up in the air, as they say, in terms of positions, isn't it, Jake?
It very much is, and we'll see that over these final few rounds, that there is no form book. You can't have a form book for what will bring the season to a close. From everyone here at Creator Series, it's been a pleasure bringing you all of this action from John Harris, from Gareth Allen behind the scenes. My name's been Jake Sperry. Reska Kyoso will have a smile wide after that was a dominant display in the second half of the race. A wonderful battle between the community, giving it over to Chucky George. But I'm just hearing word, ladies and gentlemen, that the following message is brought to you as part of the Stag World Order.